Hello, everyone. We're back with another podcast on the Portraits channel. My name is Joseph Anajar, and I'm here with my bandmate, Josh. What's happening, Josh?
Hey there. Hey, Joseph. We have some cool stuff that's happened recently.
Yeah, lots of stuff. We dropped a single and announced the album. We're going to talk about all that today. But first, if you want to subscribe to this channel to check out all the new stuff we drop periodically. Also, you could follow the band page at Listen to Portraits on Instagram. It's also on Facebook and on this YouTube channel. My Instagram is at Joseph_is_rad. And what's your thing?
At Josh Dela.
Very cool. Yeah, man. So what's been happening since we last checked in?
So we announced our album, which is coming out July 28th. It is Bye High. And it's a full,
yeah.
We have an album. We have a full album. It's not just singles. It's a miracle.
Full album out July 28th. The pre-orders are live. All the stuff was made possible by this wonderful company in Toronto called Sheet Happens Publishing, which took care of basically everything. We got the vinyl, we got the merch, we got the tabs, very important for all you fucking schmoes that want a tab book. We got the tabs. It's happening. We got the producer pack. We got the dad cap. That's my favorite part.
Oh, I'm getting a few of those.
Oh my God, so many Portraits dads caps. But yeah, so it wouldn't have been possible without Sheet Happens. So we're very thankful that they were willing to work with us. And like I was saying, yeah, like all the links, the link is everywhere. It's gonna be in this video. It's in the Portraits bio. So if you're trying to get in on the pre-order and get a vinyl or some merch or something, go for it, my guy.
It'd be cool to talk about the process of the tabs.
Yeah, we could talk about that. The last thing I want to mention before we start rambling, though, is that we did announce the album, but we also dropped a single at the same time. We dropped the third single from the album, which is Negative Space, which is from the heavier side of the album, because we were kind of playing with everybody's expectations for a little bit with the first singles. But it gets a lot heavier, so that was kind of an insight on the general tone of the album. Between Drip and Bye High and Negative Space, you kind of get a fuller picture.
Yeah, we brought out some 8 strings.
Yeah. The 8 strings made it. The thumping made it. Double bass stuff. I like Meshuggah. You know how it is.
Prague. Yeah.
Yeah, man. We could talk about the tabs. I think also we could talk about the album, because we really haven't talked about what we did. We kind of were hush-hush about the thing.
How in-depth would you want to get with talking about the album at this point in time?
Well, I think we could just blow the whole...
Okay.
I was thinking we should leak the track listing ahead of time.
Oh yeah. For anyone that actually listens to this.
Yeah, so I can read out the track listing right now for everybody who's curious. All right, so we got track 1, intro, Eterna. Very cool track. Bye High.
How in depth do you want to get with this? Should we talk about the concept behind the album?
Yeah, I think so. I think we should just do it. So track 1 is Eterna, which is the intro track. Kind of sets the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
You kind of went for that one. Funny story, when I was checking out the vinyl test pressing, I had the button on the wrong setting, so I was playing the record at half speed. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And that intro, I was like, man, this is sick. I didn't think it was going to hit this. And then I realized halfway through that it was way too slow.
That'd be kind of cool. I kind of want to hear it.
Yeah, listen to the whole album on.
Have you seen people that do that? They like slow it down then add reverb. We should do that with the whole album.
We should do that with the whole album. That would be.
I'm kind of down. That'd be funny.
Let's do it. Yeah, so that's track 1. Track 2 is Buy High, which everybody has heard at this point. Track 3 is Not Bad, which is sort of a bridge between Buy High and Drip in terms of the general vibe. Not Bad is also kind of upbeat.
It's got some like inspired things from different pop songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I had that intro from like an Ed Sheeran song or something.
Right. Oh man, I remember that when we did that. Yeah, there's a bunch
or like
of stuff
Charlie
in that track.
Puth or something. Yeah.
I really like that track. Very cool grooves. And and then track 4 is Drip, which also is out.
Mm-hmm.
Track 3 is an other interlude called Quentin Seventino.
I don't think that's track 3.
Sorry, that's track 5. But yes, after number 4 comes 5. My bad. But it's still Quentin Seventino, which is an interlude. And we're actually going to drop a live version of that pretty soon, or very close to this video or something. Or maybe it comes out before this video. I'm not sure about the timeline anymore. But anyways, Quentin Seventino is a cool track.
That was all you.
Yeah, you did like all the production on it to make it into like the interlude it is. But Quentin Seventino is a track I wrote a while ago around the concept of going between like quintuplet swing and septuplet swing.
Yep.
It doesn't sound as complicated as I just made it sound, but it just kind of goes between those two grooves throughout the changes. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it kind of and after that interlude, the album kind of opens up to a bit of the darker vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. After that is Negative Space, which you've talked about a lot on your channel with the the timing stuff.
Yeah. I didn't get like in depth with the whole song, but the specific rhythmic stuff, I was kind of like laying it out. Like, this is what is happening. I don't know. I feel like at this point, it's not that complicated because we wrote the song, right?
Yeah.
So like it's easy for us to hear, but
hard for everybody else to hear.
Yeah. I think I was not expecting people to not like hear it because I was like, oh, it's so easy. Not, just because we wrote it.
It's so easy. It's just a walk in the park, man.
So it was fun to kind of get in depth with that, and you can see the video on my YouTube channel.
Yeah. Next track is Sell Low. So the companion track to Buy High. So it's a lot darker of a tune, and we have a very exciting feature on this track. We got Michael Lassard to sing on it, which is very cool because I'm a huge fan of The Contortionist and kind of base my whole life around language, honestly.
I feel like I've gotten so many comments to saying like, oh, it sounds like The Language. Like every little thing I ever post out, there's always someone that's like, it sounds like, and I'm like, it sounds nothing like The Language, but okay.
It's partly my fault because I just love that mix. So I just kind of mix like that now, or at least I try to. But yeah, Cello's a really cool track. Lots of riffs on that one. And
that one's like the really most riffy thing I've ever done, I think.
Yeah, great. I love that tune. I'm really excited for everybody to hear it. After that, we have track 8, which is Kiowa, which is interesting track. Lots of stuff on it. I thought it was super messy up until we were like mixing it, and then just kind of became this progressive heavy thing, which I really like now.
I think it's cool. Like the intro is super dark, and then the whole thing where it's in 4, but it's like such a messed up 4.
Yeah, the whole track's fucked. Definitely, I think that one is definitely the most fucked. Between that and Negative Space, I think.
Yeah.
If we're talking about like technical stuff,
Mm-hmm.
That one's really cool. And last track is Forgetting, demo track named Very Emotional.
Yeah, so you know what's about to happen.
Yeah, so you know it's good. It's just the most sad boy track. It's in D minor, the saddest key.
I think this is like one of my favorite ones on the record.
Yeah, that one came out cool. It's one of these things, one of these demos that I had for a little while, and that brought to Josh, and he sort of finished the other half. So it's a nice little vibe.
Yeah, some cool little behind the scenes with all these songs for me at least. Is I used a bunch of different guitars on all the solos. So like, I don't know. Normally I'm just sticking to one guitar, but I was like, I kind of want things to sound different. So throughout the album, you will hear different guitars.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like that's the album. I'm really happy with how it came out. I think we both pushed ourselves, like both like on our instrument, but also like with the production. Yeah. I think this is the best mix I've ever done. And also like everything's kind of come out like very cool. Like Josh obviously is a video master, so he's so all the aesthetics has been like on points. I just think I'm just really happy with it. You know what I'm saying? Like and
that I think something that was very important to me, which we accomplished, was that if you listen to the album all the way through, it like makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not just like a bunch of random songs that we put together. It's a very thought out, like how the album starts and then goes through how it ends. It's very it's a concept album, bro.
In a way.
In a way.
We did have we had two loose concepts.
Yeah.
One of them was that the album was going to get progressively more progressive. Didn't want to make that pun just now, but it just kind of gets darker and heavier as the album goes on.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was the buy high, sell low thing, which we were going to get in there. We also, I think some of the demo track names were more around the financial meme. Like I think Kiowa was called Not Financial Advice for a while.
Yeah. It was a bit too on the nose, but
a bit too on the nose, but I thought it was hilarious.
I got it in the t-shirt design.
Not Financial Advice? Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's good. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, but you were trying to, at least in my head, I think we were trying to maximize the all banger, no filler feeling to this album, while also making sure that it flows as an album.
Right. We didn't like self-indulgent, super long, like intros and outros and interludes and that kind of thing. It's very much like, this is the song. It's very tight, and like the parts that are there, we definitely wanted to be there.
Yeah, like no 9-minute songs on this record. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all like tightly packaged and focused, which is important to me. I feel like I get the 9-minute stuff out of my system when I just play stuff with real people in real life. You know, I don't really care to produce a song that's 9 minutes.
That's a good point, because I like the improv stuff that I'll do live. It's like it's so long and there's not really a super set form, and it's just, I don't know, when I'm writing music, I don't want that exactly.
Yeah, well, it's just because like when I'm producing music and it gets to that point where like the song's 4 minutes and I'm just like, oh, let me just go on a tangent, like an ambient tangent for a while to then bring it back. It just feels kind of pointless to me.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Like it feels like it's not worth it. Like, why am I doing this? And this question of the why when you're writing a song is like a very like big thing. So if I can't justify it, I just finish the song.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes when I listen to like some progressive instrumental music and then there's like a whole B section where I'm like, none of this is memorable, I'm like, why is this even in the song?
Yeah. I don't know. It's happened that I've like listened to songs that do that, and I think it's genuine. It sort of hit me hits me in an emotional way. Also, I have a song that is 9 minutes. Like I have not the one that I've showed you, but there's an old Bird Problem song called Ashes that is like 9 minutes and a half. But I think like at that time I was just in that mind space that it sort of came out of me naturally, that I wasn't forcing it. So in that way, I think it's justified.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, those songs were written like in real life, like we were just kind of jamming them instead of doing it with the computer. So it's a different perspective. But anyways, now that I'm a mature man and an arrangement god, I don't write songs that are more than 5 minutes.
It's funny working with like a pop producer and like recording some guitar stuff, because it's like, oh yeah, this song's like 2 minutes. Like, it's just like verse chorus and like maybe one bridge or something, but like it's so tight, and like everything that's there is like, oh yeah, if I took this out it wouldn't be a song anymore.
Yeah, punk bands or hardcore bands will do that too, where they just write like 2-minute songs.
Yeah.
It's very, I mean, we should just do that as a joke. It'd be so easy. Why don't we just do that? Like
just put 2 Instagram clips together.
Yeah.
Song. No, not really, but
we could do a whole album of just 1-minute songs.
Oh no. No one needs this. I don't want that.
Yeah, man. But yeah, to tie that all up, like the album is what it is, and I'm pretty happy with what it's become,
Yeah, I'm excited to have it out there, and it would be cool to see people post pictures with their vinyl and stuff.
Yeah, if you get the vinyl or merch, please post it and tag us and all that stuff. And if anybody learns anything, also please tag us. I want to see people attempt these parts.
Yeah, we've had a few people attempt these parts from the singles that we released.
Couple drip things. There was that one bassist who did the negative space thing. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
He posted it like the next day or something.
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
I'll put his handle somewhere here because I'm forgetting it and I don't want to mention someone without properly shouting them out. You want to talk about tabs?
Yeah. Sheet Happens has a guy that they hire, which I cannot remember his name at the moment. Maybe you could also put his name because he's great.
Yes. I'll do that.
And he amazingly like tabbed out the whole album, which is insane.
It is. It's quite ridiculous. Definitely doesn't make sense.
What Sheet Happens does to kind of make sure that everything's good with all of the tabs is they send it to the artist, and then like we have to go through it. So Joseph and I went through the whole album, changed a few things. I mean, all the notes were mostly right. It's just like sometimes, guitar, you can play the same thing in different places, that kind of thing.
Chord voicings too. That stuff is, some of this stuff is just always really hard to hear. And honestly, when people lift stuff by ear, like in the transcribing mindset, it's not about getting it exactly. You know what I'm saying? It almost doesn't matter. Yeah. But for this sort of stuff, like precision is what's important. So I'm pretty confident in saying that he was like 85% correct.
I mean,
and
I feel like more than that, but like
maybe even it was anything
great.
Also, when he did for Drip, which had the video out, he was dead on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he killed it. So the tabs it's the official Portraits tab book. So if you want the real parts,
there's some crazy licks in there. I think both of us have just some like insane licks that you could lift from the tabs.
Yeah, there's some dumb stuff in there. I feel I feel bad for anybody that like tries to do it. Honestly, like I might look at the tab book one day when I have to play this stuff.
Oh yeah. I think I talked to because when I played with Aaron with intervals, I looked at the tabs to learn the parts.
Your own parts, you're saying?
No, to learn the rhythm parts for the song.
Oh yeah.
I didn't want to sit there and do it by ear, so I just looked at the tabs and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, yeah, I also did a similar thing. I was like, look, give me the tabs or give me stems, whatever is easier, you know, because there's no way I can pick out distorted rhythm guitar riffs. Well, riffs,
Right.
single note riffs, okay,
Yeah.
but distorted rhythm guitar chords from a whole mix, forget about it.
Yeah.
Like, no chance.
So
I get transcribing guitar chords is so hard, dude.
yeah.
I feel like I can only do it in a certain genre with a certain tone if it's mixed a certain way.
Yeah.
Because then I will just hear something and I'm just like, oh, I've played this voicing before.
Yeah, exactly.
So it kind of
yeah.
lights up in my brain. Like I remember, I know this is, you know, it played like this. You know, in the same way you can hear like a Campfire G chord and you know exactly what chord it is because of the, you know, just the timbre of the voicing and whatnot. But with progressive stuff, you know, you could throw all that stuff at the window. Like there is no convention of types of voicings that people use in prog.
Right, for sure. They're all
You know,
insane.
like funk, fusion, R&B. Like you can make the case that he was probably playing this type of chord, and then
Yeah.
you guess it, and it's like, oh yeah, that does sound right. But with prog and distortion and the drop D stuff, no chance. Forget about it.
Yeah. I think something else that we should mention, this is not related to tabs, but with the Sheet Happens, we're releasing a producer pack. Maybe you could explain kind of what that is.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people, especially when they buy tabs, kind of want the jam along track things.
Mm-hmm.
I figured the most straightforward thing to do would be to just print stems of the whole of each song, sort of drums all in one track, bass all in one track, rhythm guitars, the different leads and the different harmonies, and then the production aspect stuff. Something like 6 or 7 tracks per song. Is that correct? Yeah, something like that with the tempo map. That way, you know, if someone wants to play along, they could just mute whatever they want to play. But also, this becomes really interesting with vocals songs, but you could take the vocals and inspire a whole new track if you want, you know, sort of royalty free, like samples. Take the hook, make new things about it. A lot of people like to do that. I got a few friends that they're like pop producers. They will take just a whole vocal stem of a pop song and just write a whole new song under it, and then mute the vocals afterwards.
Yeah.
It's a totally fair game thing to do. But anyways, we have the producer pack with everything, so you could not only play along and remix, but you can also dissect the album if you want to. If you want to hear what the drums sound like alone.
Yeah, some great drum tones. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Troy, once again. But yeah, so if that's something you're into, fairly affordable little item where you get all the stems for the album.
Yeah, man.
And a tempo map, so you can also see like if we're doing any funny business, like in the session, like tempo wise, like with the switches, with the bars and stuff. So you could probably count it out how you want.
Right, and then you can add a click if you want.
You can add a click. Big move.
Yeah,
I can play.
Help.
There's a lot of songs on this stuff that I can play with the click. Have fun playing the ones in 17. Haha.
Yeah, oh my gosh, dude, recording that is so funny.
But yeah, so that's the producer pack, so you can get that and do whatever you want with it. I don't care. You can do whatever you want.
That's a Joseph approved message.
That's a Joseph portrait approved. Yeah, man. So that's what's up. You can get the album, links everywhere, like I keep saying, and lots of stuff coming after that point. More playthroughs, more stuff, more into the session videos. We're probably gonna end up looking at most of them. Try to get maybe Jacob on one of them. That would be really cool, and other band members, or people that played on the record, and so we can look at all that production stuff. But yeah, man, that's I think that's the entire promotion we had to do. What else is up?
Yeah, well, you've been gigging a bit.
Yeah,
which is
I've been
very different than anything that we've been doing with portraits.
Yeah, I mean it's just summertime here in Montreal, and I feel like I'm a bit busier this summer than I usually am, because I'll usually do an amount of sort of session hired gun things, but not too many, because I don't really advertise myself as a session guy. Like if you are hiring me to do something, like it's because you like the way I play, right? I'm not really able to sort of play differently. But this time around, I've just been sort of stacking the gigs, which is nice. So I've just been sort of packing my shit up and playing with a bunch of different bands, which is cool. Lots of R&B sort of funk fusion stuff with the Le Cypher X band a couple times, and with the Grove bands periodically, because that's my homie Shane. So I just kind of like play in the band maybe a couple times a month. And I've just been doing a lot of stuff, kind of busy, which is nice. I like playing out, like I like playing in front of people.
It's much more fun than sitting in front of a computer.
Yeah, and I really like playing this genre of music. Like I like playing prog a lot, but I also like playing more pocket-based genres. It's just
some popcorn in there.
Popcorn. I've been really stretching my popcorn skills. Been really developing the popcorn muscle. But yeah, I've been doing that a lot, and it's just been very fulfilling. And I just want to do it more at a high level. So I'm down to just keep doing that. Hopefully, I stay busy as the summer goes on, and and then it gets cold again. That's when you never know. Like, there's no gigs in the winter. Well, no, there are gigs in the winter, but there's definitely like 25% less gigs.
Yeah,
that's how it goes. But yeah, that's been very fun.
What's your live rig looking like these days?
It depends on what the gig is. If I'm bringing everything, well, I always bring everything, but what changes? Okay, so I got a pedal board, and I will either plug that into the PT20, and then maybe bring a 112 or something, or maybe there's a cab there. Or if I'm playing a jam session, I've been bringing my Fender Blues Junior, just because I feel more comfortable with using that amp than letting everybody use my PT20. It would probably be fine, but it's just, this is my favorite amp, so I'm a bit more reserved with it. But the Fender Blues Junior sounds amazing. I'm sure. Have you messed with those? It's probably like the most affordable and best gigging amp.
It's like the Tweed amp, right?
No, I mean they make one that's Tweed, but it's just like, Fender clean crunch thing.
I think I've only played the Tweed one, and it sounds like amazing. I love that amp. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's people change the speakers as an upgrade, but I haven't even done that. Also, I've never changed the tubes in it, and it's like 6-7 years old. So it's fucking going, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the way that amp sounds. I have no issues with that amp, but because it's sort of a cheaper, more throwaway, older amp that I don't really care about, I bring that when it's a jam session thing and people are going to use it. And people are happy to use it because it sounds great. But yeah, so I've been doing that, or the PT. I actually had a rehearsal the other week at this studio in Montreal that my friend is renting a space in, and we played like in the big room, and they had like a bunch of cabs, and I was like, I'm not going to bring a cab, I'm going to use one of the cabs that's there. And I'm looking around for the one that's kind of the easiest one to take out, because cabs are heavy. So I rolled out the one that was on wheels, and it was this red Marshall cab, like TV front, like basket weave sort of thing, like this cab that I have here. Yeah. But red Tolex, and it was super beat up. And I plugged my PT into it, and it was actually amazing. It was one of the best cabs I've played. I was kind of asking like around, like, whose is this? Like, whose cab is this? Like,
Yeah.
can I have it?
You're
Like,
gonna buy it?
no, I don't have enough room. I don't have enough room in this room, dude.
Yeah.
But it was very nice. I maybe greenbacks or something. I have no idea. But anyway, so that's kind of what I've been doing, sort of pedal board and then changing around the amps and stuff.
Yeah. I do enjoy the real amp thing.
Yeah, well, for these gigs, there's no other way. Like, it's just always such a modest setup, tiny rooms. A couple weeks ago, I played in a coffee shop, which is definitely the most hipster gig I've ever played. It felt like one of those, like a gig that is a session that you later see on YouTube. I was like, why aren't people recording this? Because like the coffee shop was like packed, and it was in the old Pork. Remember, we went to the old Pork that when we were there.
Yes.
We went to so it was like in one of those streets, and it was like a super hipster coffee shop, open to the public, free entry, everything, and we're just set up in the coffee shop, and we're playing like with my buddy Space Mandela, who you met because he rapped a little bit with us when you did the Horrible People set that one time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Anyway, so that was like a really hipster thing that I did. What was the point? I forget the point I was gonna say. But yeah, for that, there's no sound man, so we gotta have the amp. You know, there's no way. It has to be a modest amp. No modelers at those gigs.
But even using like a modeler as a pedal board, I don't love doing it, especially in those kinds of gigs.
No, the modeler as a pedal board is cool if you want a real amp, but you need scenes.
Yep.
And you don't want to rig up a real pedal board with a loop switcher, which I am never doing. If you see me with a loop switcher, no, it's too far. If you see me with a loop switcher, I've done too much.
Yeah, at that point, I'd rather just have a modeler.
Yeah, like, oh my god, it would be so heavy, dude. I think the only thing that I might do is I would do like a MIDI switcher, just so I could control my Strymon or something.
Yeah. Like a Morningstar.
Yeah, but a MIDI switcher, dude. A loop switcher. Forget about it. Like, my pedal would be twice the size. It wouldn't even have more pedals, right? It would be the same amount of pedals, but it would have a loop switcher. Just so I can turn on, just so I can avoid tap dancing. Which, who cares?
But like when I'm using a real pedal board, that like defeats the purpose of why I want a real pedal board. Because I want to be able to like change things on the fly and have it be like as simple as absolutely possible. And then when you start introducing like a MIDI switcher with like its own screen and like you have to plug it into the computer to change things, I'm like, I'm out. I'd rather just use a modeler.
Yeah, man. I mean, I understand why people do it. I've been in a situation where I've like had to do a particularly hard tone switch.
Yeah.
Sort of like full gain to full clean with ambience sort of thing, and then you have like a split second to do it because you're playing the whole time through that switch.
Yep.
That can be tough, but honestly, what I've been doing is I just put that clean part in the backing tracks. I'm like, this pedal, this tone switch is impossible, and I just give up and I don't do it. I don't play it.
Oh. Okay.
You know, but I don't know. I've done some tone switches where I like press like 4 pedals, like that, like, and I think it's premeditated and everything. Like even the order in which that I press the pedals so that the switch isn't jarring.
Yeah.
Right. Like I have a particular situation where I will want to go from a dirty tone where I have just the Vemiran on to a clean tone where I also have the compressor on. Mm-hmm. And then, so I don't want to be heard when I'm with a clean tone without the compressor on. So I will turn the compressor on first and then turn off the distortion pedal.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a weird like thing, because if not, it sounds like I lose steam for like a split second, and it's more audible than just getting louder for a split second. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, point is, no looping, no switcher.
I had a like a disaster area loop switcher, which was it was small, and that was cool, but it was still a lot. It's so much cabling too, and it's like,
Yeah. How did you rig it up?
what do you mean?
Well, like, was it like a loop switcher with a brain, or you just kind of had like 10 loops in it? Like, what was the functionality like?
It's a loop switcher where you could do the individual on and off pedal thing,
Okay.
or you could program it all within. It doesn't connect to a computer. You just do it all within like the
Their
unit
interface.
itself.
Right.
Yeah. Which there's no screen or anything. So you just there was like an instruction manual for like, oh, you hold this down, then you push the ones that you want on, and then you let go and push the patch or whatever. And so I had that, but the problem was that it only had 4 switches per bank, right? So I had 4 sounds per bank.
Right. Which is not enough to make the loop switcher worth it, in my opinion.
No. I made it work, but I don't think that would be something I would go back to.
No. I don't know. You'd have to be like in a touring band where you need the sounds instantly accessible to make the loop switcher worth it. It doesn't make sense if you're like playing a different gig all the time.
Would you ever do the thing if you're in like a very consistent touring band where they have all the pedals like in a rack, and then you have like the controller in front of you?
What year is it, Josh? That's like some 2010 shit. No one does that anymore.
I feel like there's still people that do that, but
well,
yeah,
the people that do that, it's because they have their rig built from then and they just haven't changed it.
Yeah, it's crazy rig.
I mean, it makes sense, but I think when you would do that, that's when you need the guy, the guitar tech. That's sort of.
There's no way in hell I'm gonna do that by myself.
Yeah, well, look, man, if I had a guitar tech and then like could have like any rig possible, I would probably have like multiple amps, multiple heads, and I would be switching between them or blending them, you know, that sort of thing. And then I would have like, or you know what? Okay, here's what I actually would do.
Yeah. Let's talk about our perfect dream like live rig.
But this is not perfect because it's incredibly like unreasonable.
Who cares?
Who cares? Okay, I would definitely have 2 amps running all the time. Probably a couple.
In stereo?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it would be something like maybe like a Plexi and then a different flavor of drive. I'm not sure. If I had to buy it today, I would probably do Bogner and then Marshall, or like Bogner and Friedman, like because Bogner is like a very specific type of gain. It's like squishier, and then I would probably Bogner and Plexi sound.
Yeah,
that's what I would do with like 2 different cabs, probably something like Greenbacks and V30s.
Right.
Then I would want like all my effects in stereo, like all my delays and reverbs in stereo, and then I would still do the thing where I'm like driving the front end of those amps with pedals. Now, the functionality of that we could get into, like maybe then I would lose a loop switcher or something, but the rigging of that would be ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
That would be very cool. I like the idea. I like the Josh Smith thing that he does, where he has like
a Fender, like a Fender sound and a British sound.
Yeah, and then he just blends them. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, for a while I kind of had a more reasonable stereo rig that I wanted to try to do, where I was going to get 2 Princetons or 2 like 112 sort of combos.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to do that.
I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Especially in like the kinds of gigs, like the live situations that we're in, like there's no reason to have that.
The only thing that I will do, and I'm actually going to do tomorrow, because this is not a promotion, because by the time this comes out, the show will happen, but I'm playing in Toronto tomorrow with Bear Problems. I'm going to do 2 cabs left and right. That's the only thing.
From 1 amp?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I mean, you just have to get the ohmage right. I actually also have this thing. which no one's gonna see. There we go. I have this thing, just so I could get the image right in case like the cabs like don't have the right input or whatever. But the reason for that is it's two things. It's a stage volume thing, right? So I am now everywhere. I've sort of completely fixed the issue where guitar is not being heard depending on where you're standing in the room.
Yep.
And because in that band I have to be like as loud as possible and as full as possible, it also fills up the stereo space like just enough from the speakers being pointed in different directions. So that's kind of, since I've done that, I've never had the issue where I'm playing with that band and it's like, oh, I couldn't really hear the guitar. You know what I'm saying? Because it's loud all the time because we're a metal band. So I have to be like, I have to take up as much space as possible. And that's that's fixed that issue very well. And so that's the only sort of stereo thing that I will do, because then all my effects are still mono, double mono, I guess. But that's the only thing that I'll do probably. And it could be cool, maybe if we ever play together, we could do 2 sets of 212s, right? Like Aaron
the
does.
Intervals thing.
Yeah, because that's smart, because then like on both sides of the stage, we are both audible instead of like having one on the left and one on the right. That makes a lot more sense, especially since we'd be trading leads and trading rhythm parts. You know what I'm saying?
I think it depends on the a lot of like the logistics of that, but it is cool.
With a real amp, that'd be easy because we would still be doing like double mono.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But anyways, definitely something that I've thought about. Like it is an issue with live sound to not be covering enough ground when you have to be big and loud. In the other gigs that I've been mentioning, I'm often playing with a keyboardist.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sort of, and I'm playing cleaner and the music is lower dynamic. So I can sort of fit in this very narrow mid-range thing and everybody's always hearing me. You know, it's sort of a different situation entirely. And in those situations, I would still never use stereo because then I'd be a dick for bringing 2 amps to the R&B gig.
Oh yeah, no one wants more guitar at the R&B gig.
No. It has to be a guitarist's gig.
Yeah.
To bring like one stereo rig, but multiple sets of stereo rigs. You know, you got multiple guitars with stereo rigs. Because at the end of the day, the only reason to do it is for delay.
Maybe if
ping
it's
pong.
like, okay.
That's the only thing I care about.
I like blending 2 different amps. I think that thing's cool.
Yeah, but it's more feasible to just blend 2 different speakers.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, that's my tangent. What's your rig? What's your thing? What have you been doing?
I've been trying to keep everything as absolutely simple as possible because the last thing I want to do on a gig is like think about gear.
Yeah, I agree.
So I just have my pedal board, which I've done a video on my pedal board, but it's very simple and like it's just kind of like core tones. There's nothing weird on it. At some point I'd like to get something weird, but it's all very just like simple, good baseline tones.
Yeah, sounds great too.
I think that's important. Like I don't know, it might be boring, but to have good, just like standard tone is important to me. So I'm going into my board and then I'm using my Fillmore 50, which I do really like that amp. And there's 3 channels on it, right? So there's like the clean, drive, and then like more drive, and they're all separate like circuits or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but they all sound very different. And I just leave it on the middle drive and I'm going into the front of the amp and then I'm using some reverb from the amp.
Yeah, you're still not using the effects loop, eh?
No, I have an effects loop. I need to set it up still. I need to wire my board because I'm not a cool guy. I don't have the inputs and outputs on the side of my board. You know,
I think at some point you'll just do all of that. Like you'll get the new cablings and the
Yeah.
snake and the effects loop. I think that's
It will
what you'll
happen
do.
at some point. But for the moment, I'm just going everything into the front of the amp, and I enjoy it a lot. Like it sounds great. And then what I love about having actual pedals in an amp is that like it's so easy to just change something in the middle of like playing a part. Even I could just put my foot on the pedal and like I'll do that move sometimes and like
Yeah, you
change
roll
a
the
knob with my
volume
foot.
with your toe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do all my
Yeah.
gigs barefoot. No, I'm just kidding. But it's if I need to be a little bit louder, I'll just turn up the master volume on my amp. I don't have to go through any menus. It's
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah, man. Anything else you were about to say?
Oh, sorry. With as far as like the being heard,
Mm-hmm.
right? At the few places I've been playing, they're either small enough to where I don't need to be any louder, or if it is a little bit bigger, I'm mic'd up, and then I'm going through the house.
I wasn't even talking about being loud enough or not loud enough in that scenario. I feel like it was mostly more of a sound thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm always mic'd up. It's always going through the house. It's always just like a weird like EQ thing or a bottom end thing that is the reason why you're like too loud but not heard or something like that. But no,
Yeah.
there's no amp that is too quiet unless it's like a practice amp. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't really exist anymore. Like 15 watts is plenty. But these amps are 20 watts. The Fender Blues Junior is 15 watts, and that's the loudest amp I own. It's actually so loud.
I really don't like when I'm going to like not when I'm playing, but I'm going to see a band and they're playing at like a big theater or something, and like the guitar is crazy loud, but you can't hear a single note they're playing. It's just like it's all just high end and coming through the front of house.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've spent some time. I've meditated on that subject quite a bit.
It's like I can hear just high end, but if you played a wrong note, I literally couldn't tell unless I'm wearing like headphones.
Yeah, that's like I feel like that's more of a modular issue
Yeah.
sometimes. Although yeah, if you have too bright of a sound, forget about it. You really gotta handle your low end. But luckily with real amps, I feel like speakers kind of break up in a different way when you are when you're turned up loud, and it sort of handles the low end better.
Yeah. I mean, we could go on this gear subject forever. So,
Of course.
Anyways, please check out our new single, Negative Space. Pre-order all the album stuff from Sheet Happens. It really helps us out, and then we want to do more like vinyl runs and merch runs in the future. So if you guys pre-order the current ones, we could work that out. And all the links are in the description. You can follow me at Josh Dela on Instagram, and Joseph at Joseph_is_rad on Instagram.
Yeah, man. Follow the band page at Listen to Portraits, and share our music, share this podcast. Really helps us out, and pre-order if you want it. We'll catch you in the next one.
Yes, sir.
Peace out.
Bye.